Welcome. Today we're looking at Bill Gates' big announcement, his plan to accelerate giving away his wealth and what that means for the Gates Foundation.
Yes, it's quite a significant shift in strategy.
We'll cover the reasons behind it, the sheer amount of money involved, where it's going to be focused over the next 2 decades, and this new timeline for winding down the foundation itself.
Absolutely. A lot to unpack there.
So if you want to get into the details of this major global development, please do like and subscribe for more analyses like this one.
Okay, so the core announcement is Bill Gates saying he intends to distribute, virtually all of his wealth. That's estimated around $200 billion.
$200 billion, and within a specific time frame.
Yes, within the next 20 years. And this leads to the Gates Foundation closing its doors permanently on December 31st, 2045.
Right, which is much sooner than originally planned, wasn't it? The idea was it would run for decades after he and Melinda French Gates were gone.
Exactly. This is a definite acceleration.
So what's driving this faster pace? What are the motivations here?
Well, there seem to be a few key things. One big driver Gates mentioned is wanting to avoid dying rich. He referenced Andrew Carnegie's Gospel of Wealth.
Ah, the man who dies thus rich dies disgraced line.
That's the one. So there's a sense of personal legacy, but also, urgency about global problems. He wants to speed up the foundation's work on global health and equity.
Makes sense. Anything else?
He also hopes this massive pledge might encourage other wealthy individuals to do more sooner.
Kind of setting an example.
Sort of. And he also mentioned concerns about potential cuts to government funding for things like health and foreign aid. That adds to the urgency for private philanthropy to step up, perhaps.
Okay. And didn't he mention AI as well?
Yes. He expressed some optimism that artificial intelligence could actually help accelerate progress, especially when combined with this level of funding. Plus, the timing coincides with the foundation's 25th anniversary and Microsoft's 50th Moments for Reflection, apparently.
Right. So let's talk about the scale.
Yeah.
You mentioned $200 billion. That's huge.
It is. And that figure includes the foundation's current endowment, which is already around $77 billion.
Okay.
Plus his personal wealth. And that includes earnings still coming in from his investments, like TerraPower.
And the foundation's already given away a lot, hasn't it?
Over $100 billion since it started back in 2000. So this new $200 billion pledge is really building on a massive existing effort.
And the foundation calls this the largest pledge in modern history.
That's how they're describing it.
Yeah.
Comparing these things historically is always a bit tricky, inflation and all that. But it's potentially bigger than figures like Rockefeller or Carnegie, though Warren Buffett's lifetime giving pledge might still be larger overall.
And operationally, what does this mean year to year?
They expect to maintain a budget of around $9 billion per year over these next 20 years.
$9 billion a year. Okay. So where will that money be focused? What are the priorities?
They've laid out 3 main interconnected goals for this 20-year period.
All right. What's the first?
First, ending preventable deaths of mothers and babies. This has been a long-standing focus, and they're doubling down.
Okay, vital work. And second,
eradicating deadly infectious diseases. They're specifically targeting polio, trying to finish that job, plus malaria and measles. And this builds on the progress already made against HIV/AIDS and TB.
And the third goal.
The third big one is lifting hundreds of millions of people globally out of poverty.
A huge ambition.
Yeah.
How do they plan to approach that?
It's a mix of things. Improving access to quality education is one part, better nutrition is another. And here they specifically mentioned developing and getting resilient seeds to smallholder farmers.
Seeds that can handle climate change, that sort of thing.
Exactly, helping them adapt. And then also expanding access to financial and social services. They see things like digital public infrastructure and AI as key tools to help make that happen.
Interesting link back to AI there.
Yeah. And they'll also keep supporting major global health partnerships like Gavi and the Global Fund.
Right, those big international bodies. What about work within the U.S.? Is there a domestic focus too?
Yes, primarily in education. The goal is ensuring all students can succeed, but with a particular focus on Black and Latino students and students from low-income backgrounds.
And how will they do that?
Key strategies seem to be improving math instruction and providing more support for teachers. That includes using AI tools, maybe for personalized learning or helping teachers with assessment.
Okay. And I think I read gender equality as a theme across all of this.
That's right. They're saying it's a cross-cutting priority, so it should be integrated into all their work, whether it's health, poverty, or education.
Got it. So let's circle back to the foundation itself closing down, December 31st, 2045.
Yes, that's the sunset date. It's earlier than planned.
And the thinking behind setting a firm end date now.
The idea is it provides more certainty for their partners. Everyone knows the time frame. And it allows for a more concentrated effort to hit those big goals within these 2 decades.
More focus, less perpetuity. And Gates himself plans to stay involved until the end.
That's what he's indicated, yes. He intends to remain engaged with the foundation right up until it closes.
And what does the foundation's leadership say about this?
The CEO expects they'll probably narrow their focus even more as that 2045 date gets closer, really concentrating on the areas where they think they can have the biggest impact before closing shop.
Makes sense. Now, Gates also expressed some concerns alongside this announcement, didn't he?
He did. He voiced worries that progress, particularly in global health, could stall or even reverse if governments, especially the U.S. and European countries, cut back on foreign aid.
Right, warning about potential increases in child mortality if that happens.
Exactly. He stressed that even with its huge budget, the Gates Foundation can't replace the scale of government foreign aid. It's meant to supplement and innovate, not substitute.
He did praise some past government efforts, though.
Yes, he specifically mentioned PEPFAR, the U.S. president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, as an example of a really successful, large-scale government health initiative.
Okay, and this announcement also comes after Melinda French Gates left the foundation last year.
Correct. She departed and indicated she'd be pursuing her own philanthropic work separately, so that's part of the recent context.
Right, and looking ahead for Bill Gates personally, he's turning 70 this year.
Yes, and he's framing this accelerated giving as the start of the last chapter of his career, so to speak.
But he's not stopping work entirely.
No, he plans to continue his work on energy innovation, that's breakthrough energy and TerraPower, and also his focus on Alzheimer's research.
And any profits from those ventures.
He stated that any profits from those will be reinvested back into the Gates Foundation to fuel its work during this final 20-year push.
So it all feeds back into philanthropy.
Essentially, yes.
Okay, so to sort of wrap things up, the main takeaway here is this significantly accelerated plan. Bill Gates aiming to give away the vast majority of his fortune over the next 20 years through a more focused, time-limited Gates Foundation.
Precisely. It's a major intensification, focusing on really ambitious goals in global health, poverty, and education, with this definite end date in 2045. The potential impact, given the scale and focus, could be immense for millions of people.
It really could. Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. With this 20-year finite timeline, what do you think are the most critical factors that will really determine if they succeed in these huge goals?
That's a key question. Execution, partnerships, unforeseen global events.
Exactly. And maybe also, could this kind of focused, large-scale philanthropic push inspire similar concentrated efforts on other major global challenges?
That's certainly something to watch. These are definitely important questions to ponder as this unfolds.
Indeed. Well, thank you for joining us for this look into Bill Gates' plans. We hope you found it insightful.
Thank you.
And please remember to like and subscribe for more analyses of key global developments.